On my behalf and on behalf of the OBC executive, we're very delighted to see all of you. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome the patron of the Old Boys Club, Mr. Will, the Chief Principal of Alliance High School, Mr. William Mwangi, to make his remarks.
Just like in your time, schools are the reflection of the society. And to be a bit naive to expect certain things happen in society and they don't happen in school. We keep talking about technology. We keep talking about how much technology is helping us advance, but yet we want to tell the students that use of mobile phones is against the regulations of government. At one point, we are praising it. At other point, we don't want to have it done. When you are in school, I don't think, especially those who went to school during our time, we even had calculators. But today, that is what they use. This morning, I had a teacher tell the Form 2 students that they will be sitting for an exam in the evening in mathematics and they will have calculators. They were very happy. Our time, I think the closest thing that we did was mathematical table was slide rule. I think we have those who use the slide rule. That's it. I am sure there are some who do not know what a slide rule is. You are excused. But I am trying to say that we have to appreciate what's happening in society. Similarly, the evils that we have in society are the same that we have in our schools. A true reflection. You've been able to see our band perform here. I have heard Bwana Kihara and Mugo say, during their time there was no school band, but when I went there I found one, but the equipment I found then was wanting. Last year, when we were, I think there's something we were celebrating, so I saw this equipment tied with rubber bags, some rubber cut from old tires, and I felt ashamed. So what these boys are using, I had to squeeze some little money from the school to the tune of 350,000 to be able to acquire this, and they put aside in our archives what we thought was not really very much relevant to what we are doing. So if you can come up today and add on to what we have, we shall really appreciate. Don't get tired. Continue. And that's why you are so blessed. Share with us. Share with the less fortunate. I'm sure God will bless you and bless you abundantly.
One of the things that we're very passionate about as the OBC executive is being transparent to you, our members, being accountable to you, and we want you to know what we're doing, we want you to know how we're doing it, but more than that, we actually want you to tell us what we should be doing. If you go through this report, you'll find details of some of the activities that we've gone through over the last year. The visit to Kisumu County, hosted by His Excellency Governor Anyang' Nyong'o, and we're looking forward to visiting more counties going forward. We have 4 old boy governors this current cycle. We don't know how many more we'll have next time around. We had the first medical camp at the school, where old boys came together and held a medical camp at the school in first term, and there are probably about 100 medical staff there that checked the boys and give them advice and just spoke with them. We've had this initiative that, together with the Kenya Institute of Management, that we're trying to put together an initiative that supports younger old boys who are in university and trying to prepare them for the workplace. And it's been a little slow in taking off, but we're hoping that we can pick up some traction. We have, of course, the golf tournament. This year we had our 6th tournament in a row. We have the Alliance Classic Run, which has become extremely popular. So there are a lot of things we're doing, and you'll find a lot of details in there. Alliance High School, through the Old Boys Club, has an endowment fund based in Kenya. This is set up as a trust, and there's also an endowment fund set up as a tax-exempt organization in the US. Last year, we promised 4 things. We promised to strengthen institutional aspects of the EFT, to disburse endowment proceeds in support of students, to manage funds on behalf of the OBC in support of the Chapel project, and to continue scaling up the EFT fundraising efforts. And I'm delighted to report we've touched each of those 4 issues we mentioned. In terms of governance, we have representation from the Board of Management, the OBC, within the trust, so the chairs of those 2 other bodies. We've got 4 quarterly meetings we've held, in addition to the 6 I reported last year since 2017. So we had one in December, and we've had one quarterly over the last 9 months. We will continue managing and disbursing funds on behalf of the OBC. We'll keep growing the endowment. We'll keep harnessing and channeling support from Old Boys to the school. Additional projects. We want to look beyond the Chapel project. Are there other capital projects or projects of an operational nature that can be supported? And we'll continue evolving our investment strategy.
The statement of comprehensive income is what in older language might be called income statement or profit and loss statement. And this presents our incomes as a club, as a members association, and our expenses. I will not attempt to dig deep into the numbers, but just point out that in the year ended 31st December 2018, we had a total revenue of slightly over 4 million. The details of that is to be found in Note 1. Note 1 is to be found on page 30. And if you'll allow me, again, I will walk you quickly through note number 1. Our principal source of income was a golf tournament. I think the chairman's report highlighted on that. You'll see that actually in a lot of details. If you read that report again between pages 6 and 19, one of the events covered is a golf tournament. And then there are a number of other sources of revenue. So you will see some of these things, for instance, the one-offs like Matiba Gift and Kimani Driver. These are one-off events that we held, and members strongly supported, and we are grateful for that. When it comes to the expenses for the year, we spent actually more than we raised. We spent a total of 4.2 million, and a total of almost 4.6 million. And that left us with a deficit of slightly under 700,000. That means we spent more than we raised, and the only reason we were able to sustain that is because as an association, for a few years now, or a number of years running, we've actually managed to run a surplus because of the various events that we have. And for that, we are grateful to those who've served in the offices within the OBC before us. I'll also wish to highlight, allow me then from the comprehensive statement of comprehensive income to take you to page number 26, where we have what is called a statement of financial position. This shows the financial position or the health of the organization. It's just worth noting in summary that we are still in a strong financial position. Our total assets were about 3.5 million, but of that, what is really ours is slightly under 1.8 million. The others, what we are calling payables, we actually owed third parties. I think principally most of these, if you look at note number 7, you'll find it on page 31. Most of that was owed to the endowment fund because some money that had been raised for the endowment fund, principally from the classic run, had come into the Alliance High School Old Boys Club. And members, I think there isn't much else to go into, assuming that since these had been circulated from midweek, that you've had a chance to look at it.
We have To start with, we have the position of Treasurer, Secretary, Vice Chairman, and Chairman in the names of Kenneth Mushina, Yeshisho, Roshiri, and Durano, respectively. Those positions were unopposed, so they get in back as they were. So we want to congratulate them for that. We therefore wish to see them here, Chairman. So congratulations, Chair, Vice Chair, Secretary, and Treasurer for the election. It's a sign of confidence that we have shown over you, and we believe that you continue to deliver as you have, and even take us to the next level. To help you run the office, you have 10 other members that we required to form the executive, that is, but we had the 10 positions were contested by 11 candidates. So out of the 11, is only one who lost. The group that you take us through for the next, is it 2 years?
2 years.
The next 2 years. And again, we wish to congratulate them for that. And on their behalf, I would wish to request the chair to give his acceptance short speech and talk on their behalf.
We'd like to say thank you very much for the confidence that you have placed in us, and we hear you. We want to serve you in a manner that you feel that meets your needs as old boys, as a community of old boys. We're very keen to maintain the strong relationship we have with the school and supporting current students and the school administration. But we're also very, very keen to continue bringing old boys together, not just here in Nairobi, but out there in the regions. And so we're looking forward to working closely together with you to actually actualize this idea that we've been talking about for a while of having very strong regional chapters. So we are looking forward to working together with you, and asanteni sana for your trust. Here's your OBC committee. I last spoke to this gathering, a gathering of this kind, on the 12th of June 2013 at the Tintin restaurant across the road. And on that day, we've just come from we were going to an election in 2013, and the place of the judiciary in that election was again on the focus. On that day, I spoke about the judiciary, an area that I know better than most others, and I spoke about the judiciary as then it was and where we're going to take it, in my view. The chairman then asked me this year to speak about the judiciary and good governance. And so it's a sort of sequel to my last speech. And it is important that we have this conversation because of the issues that the chief principal also raised today about the role of the judiciary in shaping discourse in society, and more so in a country such as ours, which is now in the 8th year of a good attempt at implementing a very, very well-written constitution, if I may say so myself. And the beginning to this conversation would be to ask ourselves, in very simple terms, what then is good governance? And why is it important that we, in a gathering such as this one, should discuss good governance? In most contexts, good governance is discussed as an aspect of the need to revitalize democracy and the institutions of democracy in any country, and to ensure participatory democracy and human development. In our Constitution, Article 10 has values which we are to live by as a nation, including good governance.
In fact, good governance has been said to be the competent management of a country's resources and affairs in a manner that is open, transparent, accountable, equitable, and responsive to people's needs. And any conversation around good governance must have 5 variables in my view. And these are variables that you know about, you read about, you live by yourselves. One is political freedom. The other is protection of rights by the judiciary. Number 3, interestingly, a stable currency. And today we received a judgment from the High Court saying that the currency as printed, which you're holding in your pockets, is proper and is legal tender. Number 4, provision of education and health care for all. And number 5, the executive's accountability to a freely elected legislature or parliament. These 5 variables have other indicators, which include the rule of law and elimination of corruption. In my discussion, I'll focus on the role of the judiciary as a protector of individual rights and the rule of law. In that context, the judiciary generally must play a central role as the equalizer in a fair legal structure where the law is imposed impartially and with the intent to protect human rights. Those of us who were involved in the crafting of the 2010 Constitution pride ourselves in saying that we created a constitution which is ranked, debatably so, as one of the world's most pro-human rights and good governance constitutions in the world. In that context, and I spoke in brief, where do we place our judiciary in the good governance spectrum? The judiciary is and ought to be the guardian and custodian of the Constitution and must be the watchdog against violation of fundamental rights and breach of the Constitution. James Madison, one of the authors of the American Constitution, once said that the judiciary is truly the only defensive armor of the country and its constitutional laws. If this armor were to be cracked, to be stripped, or to be discarded, the door is wide open for nullification, for anarchy, and confusion. The rule of law and good governance can only therefore prevail in any country if the judiciary is independent, is fearless, and dispenses justice without fear or favor. And how is this to be done? By the judiciary making decisions that are progressive, human rights centered, protective of the Constitution, and limiting the excesses of the executive and even parliament. Prior to 2013, in our Constitution, we never had what is called second generation rights. The right to water, the right to health, the right to education, the right to culture. This Constitution has those rights. We have not gone as far as actualizing them, perhaps because our lawyers are not as strong as they think they are. It is expected today that when you have articles of the Constitution that assure Kenyans of good education, good health, the right to housing, lawyers ought to be strategic enough to test this Constitution by bringing cases of this kind. You know of the Mudhurwa housing scheme behind Marikiti. Those people were employed many years ago, a lot of them, and now as pensioners of the Kenya Railways Corporation. When they came to court because they were being evicted, we made a decision to the effect that evictions must be done in a humane manner. You can't come at night. You can't come during the school term. You can't come during the rainy season to evict these people from those houses. And today, that judgment has become law by amendment of the Land Act, and that's why it's very difficult to move people out of Mau, because there's a process of law that must be used. And the point therefore is this, that human rights in our Constitution is an aspect of good governance. And unless the courts stand strong to protect people from the excesses of government, of the police. You recall that many years ago, and some of you are here, the police would keep you for a year, 2 years without taking you to court. Today, you're arrested on a Friday, that's the only time you can stay until Monday. So Kamata Friday, as you've seen, the MD of Pedestrian Board of Kenya has just been arrested. And the point is that the law does not allow the police to keep you for more than 24 hours. And the point is that it is important that this constitution is there to protect us from excesses of the police and others. I don't think Peter Oko would have expected me to stop speaking. And I'm glad that you are here, because there is a judgment that the Supreme Court made the other day, which was revolutionary in terms of ensuring that not every person who's sentenced to death, who's charged with an offense for which the sentence is death, is actually sentenced to death. Do you know that over the last many years, people who have been sentenced to death include, as you are sitting here, Leonida, someone picks that knife on your table, threatens you with it, and takes off with your bag. That's robbery with violence. And even if the bag is recovered out there, the man is sentenced to death. When I was in Meru, I did a lot of cases where it was obvious that there was no intention to kill, but somehow someone died. I know that I think Kirimi, you know what I mean. That judgment therefore said, not every case where the sentence is death must always attract the death sentence. At one point, if you remember, since Norman has been hanged since 1985, we had more than 10,000 death row convicts whose sentences were reduced to life. And this judgment is saying, look at every circumstance of the case and determine if the person should be sentenced to death. You may then ask the question, school number 4301, grave house 14A, class of 86. That is your business, Judge. What has it got to do with us, the All Boys of Alliance? My answer is this. You, I believe, like myself, are strong believers in the motto, strong to serve. You, I believe, are people who are intent on obeying the law. You, I believe, are people who are committed to avoiding corruption. You, I believe, are people who are respecter of institutions under our Constitution. And above all, you, I believe, are people who are intent on remaining strong in body and character, men who, in God's name, will serve their fellows faithfully. I thank you very much.
Just feel great, so don't get in my way. Electricity, hey, electricity, oh, electricity, hey, electricity, oh, electricity, yeah, electricity, oh, now dance however you like. So, dance, 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 shake it off real smooth. Go to the left now, go to the right, switch it up, alright. Then inside now, dance however you like. Ooh, I feel it, my body vibrating, recitations now. Oh, I can dance all night. Dance all night. Is it a Thursday or a Friday? 'Cause I can't tell. I know I just wouldn't pay, so don't get it